Here I've been talking away, and my microphone wasn't on. So we're going to start over. I just want to encourage you all today, those of you who are watching online and those that are here, to lay hold of the promises of God. Lay hold of His presence today. Appropriate everything that He wants to give us today. Whatever we're reaching for, if it's within the realm of what He wants for us, He'll give it to us. And whether that's healing, whether that's freedom in your soul, whether that's other type of a need, He's here to meet it. And we're gonna focus on the hand of God and relationship with God and what happens when we really learn how to dwell in His presence. So let's start with some worship and invite the Holy Spirit to come and join us today. Come in your mighty power. Pour fresh oil into me. Set my heart on fire that I might glow like a lighthouse in the storm. Let your fire burn. Let it burn in me. Consume me with your holy fire. Come, we are when I've just been in a thankfulness mode with the Lord. And the more I thanked Him, the more I started crying because I was so overwhelmed with His goodness in my life and all that He's done. My goodness, if we think about all the things that He's done for us. It can overwhelm us, for sure. Just from the very breath, the fact that we're still breathing, that's a miracle. That's God. Do you ever think about how God just holds us together? It's amazing. You know, even our heart beating, you know, with me having had the issue with my heart, it brought more into focus to me how amazing it is that He causes the heart to beat. You know, what causes the heart to beat in the natural? It just keeps on beating and keeps on beating unless we abuse it or we get injured or you know, but for the most part, our heart just keeps on going, and that's God. And we might not always have everything we think we need. We might not always have everything we would like, but we're alive. We have life, and that's something to be so grateful for. I am. You know, especially having faced death, it makes me even more thankful that I'm alive and still fighting and still pressing in to receive all of His goodness. And I think a lot of times it's just a matter of us acknowledging His goodness because it's already there. It's not like we have to ask for more. We just have to learn how to tap into it, I guess. And that comes through worship. That comes through thankfulness, adoration, and all of those things. I'm going to be talking today a little bit about Psalm 91. And this song, I wrote it a while back, but I don't think I've sung it here yet. It's called Perfection, but I took it from Psalm 91 and Psalm 23, and there's a little smidge of Isaiah 53 in there. But I think, I don't know, I like to take the scriptures, turn them into a prayer in the first person, and because I do music, I like to take it to that next level and do music. But even if you don't write music, it's a great way to connect with the Lord's promises. Is to take that, you take that scripture, like, the Lord is my shepherd, I will not want. That's already in the first person. But then it says, He makes me lie down in green pastures. But why not say, You make me lie down in green, things like that. And when we do that, we're talking to Him and not about Him. And it's the same with worship. My favorite worship is worship that's talking directly to Him. Because, you know, He's over here and we're talking about Him, but we're not talking directly to Him. And it just brings a connection. It's like going up to your daddy and saying, Hey, Dad, instead of saying to your mom, say hi to Dad for me, you know? So it's a more intimate way to connect with the Lord. But anyway, I'm getting on a little bunny trail here. I have to get this song set up. This one won't take long at all. only refuge. I'm safe with you because I love you. You rescue me from every trap because I love you. Because I trust you, protect me from deadly disease. You are my healer. I don't dread the disease that stalks in the darkness. I don't fear the disaster that strikes in the day. 1,000 are falling, 10,000 dying around me. But these evils won't touch me. I'm living in your secret place most high, resting in your shadow, Almighty King. I give you glory, honor, and praise. You are perfection beyond perfection beyond perfection. You are perfection beyond perfection beyond perfection. I love to fast in your presence, in your love. I have so much to be thankful for. I honor you with my whole heart. You are perfection beyond perfection beyond perfection. You are perfection beyond perfection beyond perfection. You're my refuge, my shelter. No evil will conquer me. No plague will come near my home, because your angels are ordered to protect me. You rescue me because I love you. You're protecting me because I trust in your name. You answer me in trouble, rescue me and honor me. You will reward me with long life. I'm living in your secret place on high, resting in your shadow, Almighty King. I give you glory, honor, and praise. You are perfection beyond perfection beyond perfection. You are perfection beyond perfection beyond perfection. I love to bask in your presence, in your love. I have so much to be thankful for. I honor you. I honor you with my whole heart. You are my healer. Hallelujah, my King. You are the healer of all sickness and disease. You are the healer. Because of your wounds, I am healed and I am free. Because of your wounds, I am free. I am free. I am free. Sing that with me. I am free. 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 Who the sun sets free is really free. I am 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 whole. I am whole. I am whole. I am whole. I am free. Free to serve you. I am free. Free to love you. I am free from my past. I am free from sickness. I am free now. I am free. Sing it with me. I am free now. I am free. I am free now. I am free. I am free now. I am free. You are perfection beyond perfection beyond perfection. You are perfection beyond perfection beyond perfection. You are perfection beyond perfection beyond perfection. You are perfection. When I am weak, perfection. You are strong, you are strong, you are strong. You are everything. You are strong, you are strong, you are strong. I give you my weakness, I give you my weakness, I exchange it for your strength. I give you my weakness, I give you my weakness in exchange. Perfection beyond perfection beyond perfection. Perfection beyond perfection beyond perfection. Perfect God. Perfect. Wonderful. Come on, guys. Come on in and have a seat. I got a lot on my spirit about about intimacy, about his place of protection. And when I was singing this song, I was thinking about the passage that says, I don't dread the disease that stalks in darkness, and I don't fear the disaster that strikes in the day. And and then back here, no plague will come near my home. You've ordered your angels to protect me. So that's where we're going with this today. And I'm going to just start with Psalm 91. I've got two versions out because each of them says something unique that really brings with it a deeper understanding. So I'm going to start with the Amplified Bible. And we're just going to start with verse 1. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will remain secure and rest in the shadow of the Almighty, whose power no enemy can withstand. So, a lot of people like to quote Psalm 91 for protection, right? How many times have we done it over the years? But do we pay attention to verse 1? Because all the promises are conditional on us doing what's in verse 1. To dwell in his shelter. To develop intimacy with him. To be close to him. And if we don't do that, we can't expect the level of protection that we would like to see or have. I'm going to read this other version. This is the Passion Bible, which is really new to me, and I guess it's fairly new anyway, but I like it. It's got some really good wording in it, but this is a little bit different. When you sit enthroned under the shadow of Shaddai, you are hidden in the strength of God Most High. When you sit enthroned under the shadow of Shaddai, you are hidden in the strength of God Most High. So, and in a little while, I'm going to be talking a little bit about being hidden as well, because there's some things about that I feel like God's starting to unlock to his bride about being hidden and the purpose of it. So, some of the notes that were in the Passion Bible really caught my attention. So when you sit enthroned, or, O you who sits enthroned, the Hebrew word yashab is often associated with one seated as royalty. So we're sons and daughters of the king. That makes us royalty. But we have to know our place as sons and daughters of the king. That's part of it. When we seat ourselves next to the king, we are sitting down like royalty. And the under the shadow, their explanation here was, or I endure through the night, where the same Hebrew word is used for an eagle passing the night on the high cliffs. So an eagle, of course we know an eagle can soar pretty high, and they go up to those high cliffs where nothing can get to them. So we need to stay in that place, in that dwelling place with him, so that we can be secure, so that we can be hidden, so that we can be protected. I'm going to skip to verse 3, and this is in the Passion Bible. He will rescue you from every hidden trap of the enemy, and he will protect you from false accusation and any deadly curse. The Hebrew word can also mean poisoned arrows, the Hebrew word for curse. And there are several places where it mentions arrows in here, and that caught my attention also because in Isaiah 49 it talks about an arrow in a different context. So I'll get to that in a little bit. But so his massive arms or wings speaks of not of God having wings, but of the wings of the cherubim resting on the mercy seat. Isn't that awesome? And the implication is that we can come to the mercy seat and rest without fear. So his wings, his arms, the cherubim, wrapping the arms of protection around us. You know, we used to raise parrots. And when they have babies, it was very interesting because I got a little bit more insight about that whole under the wing thing when I watched the mother parrot protecting their babies. And, you know, we usually refer to like chicks or chickens or whatever, but we got a real up close and personal with these parrots. And it was dark under those wings. But the babies would just be up under there, and if it rained, the mother would spread her wings out like this to protect them from getting wet. So everything that would try to come after those babies would have to go through that mother, would have to get past those wings and that beak. But God protects us in that manner, but we have to stay up close. See, those babies weren't running around outside the protection of the mother. They were right up close. And that's why it's so important to stay close to him so he can protect us. So we're not out of his reach, so we don't run off in another direction that we're not meant to be. You know, to me, this also speaks of holiness. It speaks of the way we live our life. In fact, there's another passage here in Exodus 15:26. He said, if you will listen carefully to the voice of the Lord your God and do what is right in his sight, obeying his commands and keeping all his decrees, then I will not make you suffer any of the diseases I sent on the Egyptians, for I'm the Lord who heals you. So that talks about healing, but again, it's conditional. Now, yes, God heals people who don't know him to draw them to him. But we in the body, we have to not only stay close, but we have to be obedient. We have to obey his commands. We have to let holiness grow in us. Because, you know, we're not born holy for sure. We are born with carnal nature. And that carnal nature is always at war with the spirit. But we have to continually let the Spirit win and continually check our flesh. Because if our flesh rules us, we're going to be farther and farther and farther away from the protection of the Lord, of El Shaddai. Even in a time of disaster, this is verse 7. Even in a time of disaster, with thousands and thousands being killed, you will remain unscathed and unharmed. So in our world, this seems very relevant right now to the things that are going on in our world. We're having natural disasters increasing. You know, Nashville, that unexpected tornadoes killing all those people. We have to know where we stand, you know. We have to understand that he's such a place of safety for us. We had a tornado here one time. And it was a bad storm, and we were standing looking out our bathroom window, and all of a sudden we saw a swirling wind. And my eyes are getting big. I've never even seen a tornado, let alone been so close to something that looked like it might be one. And but it started looking like it was, in the shape of a tornado, and being really close to it, it probably looks different than somebody looking at it from a distance. Anyway, we started praying and, praying in our prayer language and declaring and decreeing and everything. And it wasn't long at all. And, all of a sudden, the intensity of that died down. It kind of disappeared. And then the next day, we went out and we discovered that right outside that bathroom window, there was a dead oak tree. And I had been wanting that tree to be uprooted anyway. I had been asking the Lord to get rid of that tree. It was right up next to the house. That thing picked that tree up by the roots, and laid it down. So that tree was gone. But then we discovered evidence around the property that a tornado had come over the house and moved some things that could have not moved any other way. Picked up the picnic table, lifted it up, moved it, and set it back down. So it wasn't blown over, it was moved to a different spot. So then here recently there was a storm, and I think it was Sherry that called me and said they're supposed to have some tornadoes in San Marcos and Kyle. That's what they're saying. So I turned on the TV. After a while, I turned on the TV to see what the weather report said. And just as I saw the thing that showed tornadic activity coming to Kyle, the electricity went off. And then we were just in the dark, and but we joined together immediately and we prayed and we asked the Lord for his protection. And the next day, it was on the news that there was a tornado that came through the neighbor's property, 2 properties over, and then right through the property right next to us. And the one that was 2 properties over, the tornado, the woman described it as the windows were pulsating, like pushing in. So they went into a room where they were away from the windows. The tornado took their door and blew it off, blew their door down the street, and then moved on to the next door neighbor's property, the ones that have the horses right next to us. It tore up their corral. Well, instead of coming up here, it went the other way and damaged some people's roofs on Creekside Trail, which it was like, wow, Lord, I was just so aware of his protection. Twice. First time the tornado came and didn't hurt anything or anybody. Second time the tornado didn't even come our way, but there were tornadoes. So that's a disaster that got averted, again, because of living in the secret place of the Most High. And we don't have to be perfect. He's perfect. We don't have to have everything right. We don't have to, do everything right every day, but we do have to be obedient, and we do have to seek his presence, and we do have to love him with all our heart and all our mind and all our soul and all our strength. We do need to spend time with him, and we let him work on the other things. That's part of that being weak. We just let him work on those things that we haven't conquered yet, but we don't just ignore those things either. We have to actively cry out to God, especially if we've got a stronghold in our life that's hindering us. So, moving on, verses 9 and 10. When we live our lives within the shadow of God the Most High, our secret hiding place, we will always be shielded from harm. How then could evil prevail against us or disease infect us? Okay, well, we got a coronavirus running around now that I'm not everybody, but a lot of people are freaking out about. And it's not the only thing. You know, the flu is really bad this year, and people are dying. But when we live our lives in the shadow, in that secret hiding place, it says, how could evil even prevail against disease or infect us? So let's stay in his protection. Let's stay in his presence. God sends angels with special orders to protect you wherever you go, defending you from all harm. If you walk into a trap, they'll be there for you to keep you from stumbling. I like that. You'll even walk unharmed among the fiercest powers of darkness. The Hebrew includes the words for lions, snakes, and dragons. All three are symbols of satanic power. So it says, you'll even walk unharmed among the fiercest powers of darkness, trampling every one of them beneath your feet. For here's what the Lord has spoken to me. Because you have delighted in me, I love this part, as my great lover, I will greatly protect you. I will set you in a high place, safe and secure before my face. Wow, he calls us his great lover. Are we? Is he our love? I will answer your cry for help every time you pray, and you will find and feel my presence even in your time of pressure and trouble. I will be your glorious hero and give you a feast. You will be satisfied with a full life and with all that I do for you will enjoy the fullness of my salvation. So I just wanted to touch on that because that's just one aspect of living in his presence. But I wanted to talk a little bit about his hand, because the shadow of his wing is similar to the palm of his hand. And my pastor's been talking about the hand of God here lately in different ways. And he prophesied some things to me about the hand of God a couple of different times, about the hand of God. And so I started delving more into, okay, what is the hand of God? And in Isaiah 49, it says, let me see where I want to go with this. Okay, I'm just going to read. Listen to